knapsack on my back, my rifle on my shoulder. I'll march away to the firing line, kill that Yankee soldier. I'll kill that Yankee soldier. I'll march away to the firing line and kill that Yankee soldier. I'll bid farewell to my wife and child, farewell to my aged mother. I'll go and join in the bloody strife till this cruel war is over, till this cruel war is over. I'll go and join in the bloody strife till this cruel war is over. If I am shot on the battlefield, then I should not recover. Oh, who will protect my wife and child? Who care for my aged mother? Who care for my aged mother? Oh, who will protect my wife and child and care for my aged mother? And if our southern cause is lost and southern rights denied us, we'll be ground beneath the tyrant's heels for our demands of justice, for our demands of justice. We'll be ground beneath the tyrant's heels for our demands of justice.
Netherland Tavern is right there, and this is right about where that wood place is, that lumber yard.
That big lumber yard, yeah.
And so we're up, right now we're up, where are we? Up here, right here, right
Yeah.
there. All right.
We came up this way. 23rd Virginia,
Yep,
Company D, Louisa Grays.
okay.
And Jerry Harlow, who is the president, his great-grandfather was in the same group. However, here's where it gets interesting. Their grandfathers were both at the barracks in Charlottesville when it was a Hessian jail. Mine was a prisoner there, his was a guard.
So you're saying that the first ones to basically run into the pickets, the Union picket Custer, were the Virginians, because the 6th South Carolina were camped with Hampton at Netherland Tavern.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yourself there.
You see, we've been to Custer's camp. Merritt was camped right over there.
Oh, and I feel right there.
Over in those woods areas.
Yeah.
Okay. D.M. Gregg was camped further up to the north. They came in right through here. Went to camp, and Davies went to camp. All right. You know, there it is. Devon is down here, which is off to our left as you face the sign. That's back toward Trevilian's.
Okay.
And I'll show you where that was.
All right.
When they got going in the morning,
The first day.
the first day, Devon's group led out, followed by Gregg and Davies, or Davies and Gregg. Gregg was in the rear. He was a support company, and he had most of the baggage.
Okay.
And basically, he was reserves for the battle down here. Custer was not involved in anything that happened that way. He had a different route.
Okay.
Oakland, all right? We recently learned that Oakland's name comes from a plantation that was down there called Oakland,
Okay.
in that vicinity. Didn't know that until 2-3 years ago. About there is where Hampton and his folks ran into Devon's advanced scouts.
Okay, this is where the Citadel writes about. It's not. I thought it was about this here, up at Clayton, right down where Custer was.
Clayton's store was right over there, about 250 yards.
Okay. So it was over here. Oops, sorry, I didn't have a thing. It's over here where they ran into him, Hampton.
Further down this way, about 3 miles.
That helps you understand. So what road are we on here?
This is Oakland Road. It's also called 613.
613, okay.
This goes from Spotsylvania from Fredericksburg to Spotsylvania, all the way to Dickinson's store, which is on 522. And then this one, it goes all the way to Charlottesville, almost all the way to Charlottesville. And it's called, this is the farm where the Union camped.
Is this where that plantation, Oakland Plantation House was?
No,
No.
that's further down.
Okay.
This one was the Woolfolk, Woolfolk farm when I was growing up. And there's Woolfolks in Louisa and Orange who trace their ancestry back to here in the 1800s. And over there on that hill was a big house. This road, 4 abreast.
The first day.
First day. Troopers riding 4 abreast. They've got scouts out ahead of them. When they get down here to the next, I will say the next bigger intersection. There's one more just short of where we're going. Then that's where we think they ran head on into the Southern forces.
And the 6th Scouts, South Carolina there. That's where the Citadel says, right?
They were with Butler.
Yep.
I'm sorry, not Butler. Hampton.
Hampton, yeah.
Hampton, let's see, it'd be Hampton, Butler, and several others.
Rosert, what's his name?
They were coming up the road. Union scouts going down the road. So all of a sudden it's, oh shit, enemy. Bang, bang, run.
This
Bang,
is
bang,
3,
run.
4 in the morning? What time was this?
Probably 7:30 in the morning.
Daylight. So they trotting the horses? Are they trotting here?
They what?
They taking their time walking the horses, trotting the horses?
Trotting
through
probably.
here, probably?
These guys were probably walking.
Yeah.
Those guys were probably trotting.
So this is where, when they engaged, they went back and woke up Hampton and Netherlands.
No, they woke up Hampton and he's with them coming.
Oh, he's
this
with
way.
them. Oh, I didn't understand that.
Yeah,
so
he's
he's
with
with them.
They got him up at daylight, which would have been somewhere around 6:30 in the morning.
Ah.
So around 7 to 7:30 up this way, right over here is where they ran into the Union forces.
So Hampton's coming north. The north is coming from the north.
Yeah.
Yep.
You remember I showed you Nuns Creek Road?
Yeah, cutting over.
It comes into this road
Ah.
halfway down to the way we went into Louisa.
Kents Mill Road.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the shortcut that they can take.
That's a shortcut across Nunn's farm.
Got it.
And that's how he got in behind Hampton.
You think Hampton would have known that?
If his scouts had been doing their job, he might have.
What the hell what was Butler doing?
They were expecting everything up here. Fitz Lee was supposed to advance up that road and engage the Union forces.
Yeah.
He didn't do it. Poor guy is going nuts behind me.
Now what's this place called?
This is Oakland.
Okay.
We think the plantation was within a half a mile of here and possibly on this road. We received an account by email of a person in one of the Carolinas 2 years ago whose ancestors owned Oakland Plantation. and they were supposedly serving breakfast to the Confederate scouts between 5 and 6 in the morning when some Union scouts rode up on them, and a fight ensued in their front yard. After that, we don't know. We don't know where that place was. We'd never heard of that before. I filed that email, and when I went back to get it, it wasn't there.
Just tell me where Hampton is and what's going on.
Well, Hampton is forming his line down here when the battle sets up. But he personally is up in this area, and he's managing from there.
And so the people we care about is Isaac Harby Moses, right there in the 6th South Carolina, and Butler, right? Your clan. He's right with them. So he was managing Harby Moses. Once again, this is unreal.
Yeah.
You and Harby should be here together. That's it. That's wild, isn't it? Because Isaac was here, Butler, great-great-grandfather. The two were in the same grouping. 200, how many years ago? How many years ago?
1864, so
160 years.
So 160 years ago, Harby, your great-great-grandfather, and your great-great-grandfather were in the same line.
Now, my great-grandfather wasn't here. He
Yeah.
was infantry.
Infantry. But they were together when the first contact came with the northern troops coming from the north.
Yeah, we think it started right up here around this intersection.
Okay?
And then the southern folks fought a delaying battle. Hampton sent scouts back to the south to get his people and bring them up and set up a battle line. And down here at what is now called White Oak Farms, back then it was called White Oak Slash because all the trees had been cut for the railroad. And you had stumps that had 3, 4, 5 sprouts coming up off of them. You couldn't see 10 feet. There are accounts of both Union and Confederate saying they could hear the enemy whispering to each other. They were that close.
This is interesting. Butler's brigade, actually, that's the first shots were fired.
That's what I heard. I thought it was on the road over there, but it's here.
Back here.
So if you would, Wade, tell the story of your relationship with Butler.
Well, General Matthew
Talk a little louder if you would.
General Matthew Butler was my the grandfather of my grandmother. So I've grown up hearing about him and this battle, which is why we're here, and because you brought me.
I just think we were at Kings Mountain. We took a guy up there, Gayer Gamble, who came with over the mountain man. Your great-great-great-grandfather was there, walking side by side into the Battle of Kings Mountain. Never met each other until we had bourbon the night before. So now, 2 times in 6 months, Isaac Harby Moses, great-great-grandfather, and your great-great-grandfather, first to make contact again.
And he keeps.
You talk about blind hogging an acorn. That's twice.
If I hadn't walked over on the Tuckasegee River to share a bottle of bourbon with this guy, I wouldn't even know all this.
We got to have bourbon to celebrate this. What are the odds?
All right, this is the beginning of that area, and the line was right across here.
A line between the Confederates coming from the south and the north coming from the north.
Yeah. The line was almost a mile long, half mile in each way. Imagine the traffic jam.
Yeah.
4 horses come down, 1 soldier and other 3 horses go back, and you're doing this
As they
trying to get 'em
advanced.
by.
It's all dismounted, and they kept 1 soldier, took the horses to the back, and 3
Yep.
continued.
A lot of times they just go back 50 yards and tie them off to a tree.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they couldn't go any
A lot of freaking horses.
Yep.
Well, you know, the other thing is interesting thinking about that is those horses didn't have poop bags on the back of them.
Nope.
almost 10,000 horses.
Here.
So this was a hornet's nest
It
at
was
the end of the
big-
first day, right?
Big time.
Because they're getting pushed back to the tracks, right?
They're being pushed back. Now, Fitz Lee has come up from Louisa and boxed Custer in over there. And Hampton's line and Fitz Lee's line have connected. That's where our horse trail crosses the road.
This is what time the first day? In the evening?
No, this is probably 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, that early. So he got here.
He
Okay.
got here. You see that gully right there?
Yeah.
That's the original roadbed.
Okay.
Oh, that's why
They-
Netherlands
they-
Cafe goes right in front of it.
It dates back to the 1700s.
This is a cool place. Now, this was all been rebuilt, right?
This is not rebuilt, this is new build.
New build, okay.
I'll show you where the foundations are.
Named after this gentleman from Columbia, South Carolina, Wade Hampton. And Butler, his great-great-grandfather, was his right-hand guy underneath them. They say he managed most of this battle for him. Is that true, Butler?
Probably.
Now, where are we now? Where are we now? Edward, tell us where we are right now.
Netherlands.
We're at Netherlands Tavern. The building behind me is a rebuilt structure to represent the original tavern. The original tavern was about 50 yards to the east.
Okay.
The original foundation stones are still there,
And that way.
that way.
Oh, that way. Sun's okay. Sun's there. Okay.
The road came right in front, went right up there and forked and went to the west crossing and out that way to the east crossing
Okay.
and joined in what is now Route 22.
So that morning, when the skirmishers drew fire or began to fire, Hampton was here. Where was he?
Hampton was up the road when it started and he backtracked.
Oh, I thought he was sleeping in the yard, front yard.
He was, but he was with the advanced scouts
Okay.
when the
So he
skirmishes
woke up,
started.
he was sleeping in the front yard, and he woke up and went with the advanced scouts.
His generals came to him and said, "What do you propose to do?"
And Butler had to be one of those.
He had to be.
Okay.
And Hampton said, "I propose to fight." They mounted up, took some troops for protection, and went down the road and down around what is now Oakland, met up with the Union forces. A skirmish ensued. Hampton retreated back this way, called his forces forward, set up his battle line. The Union set up their battle line opposing it, and for the next 4 hours, all hell broke loose.
And they explained when he came back and got the Citadel cavalry.
That would have been after midday, somewhere around 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the afternoon.
So the battle line was what
the battle
time?
line was down there, not far from where the trailhead is now.
But what time was the battle line formed?
The original battle line was formed by 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Okay, 8 o'clock, their battle lines are formed.
Mm-hmm.
Then he comes back because he's worried about the gun being overtaken. He gets the Citadel cadets. He rides up there 500 yards.
All right, according to the book, he doesn't know about the gun being overtaken until it's reported to him.
Ah,
The only troops he had available were the Citadel cadets. So he gathered a couple of experienced cavalrymen and the cadets and charged up there, ran off 3 or 4 Union forces that were about to take it, brought the gun back.
you think maybe Butler could have been one of the guys he sent back? Or was
Could
he
have
too big
been.
a guy to be in the lead
Well,
the battle?
Butler wasn't in that group with him. Butler was managing the line.
Okay, the line. So they wouldn't have sent Butler. Somebody else came back then.
There
Okay.
were 4 attempts made on the right flank to get to Custer. The 4th attempt, somewhere around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, got through. Because it got through, that split Hampton and Fitz Lee. Fitz Lee then,
Oh, so Custer's encircled,
Custer is in that living triangle I told you
and we'll go
about.
back there.
And Fitz Lee got pushed back toward Louisa. He went within a half mile of Louisa and took a road south, which brought him over to a place called Lastly Church,
Okay.
where he camped for the night. He left there with his headquarters company, went west, then north, then back east to Hampton's night headquarters up Route 33. His people got underway the next morning, followed approximately the same route, and showed up with Hampton about midday. The Union forces had stayed in this area. They tore up some track. A small contingent made a excursion.
So this is midday, still the first day?
Now we're talking midday the second
I thought
day.
second day. They got to the tracks. They're tearing
They
up
got
tracks.
the tracks. If you read Sheridan, he tore up 7 miles of tracks. That would have taken him all the way to Mineral.
Yeah.
He didn't do that.
I've been to Mineral because I read
He
yeah.
went down probably about as far as Mildred's Crossing, which is a little
I know
over
where
a
that's
mile,
at. I know that's at.
and he went this way about a quarter mile, and that's it. Then they progressed westward up Route 33. The road went, the Charlottesville Road branched off of the Gordonsville Road a little over a quarter mile toward Gordonsville. 22, where it is now, wasn't built until the 1900s when they had earth moving machines. They go up there, the road forks like this, goes through the woods on both sides and opens up to a 300-acre field. The Union forces went, oh, artillery, because the line of woods had Confederate forces and artillery there.
This is the L on the track on the
And
road.
that's where they came down the edge of the woods to the tracks and went toward Gordonsville about 150 yards.
Yeah.
And that's where the second day battle all occurred in one spot.
And that's where the 6th South Carolina was on point at that apex of that L. That's
Yes,
Okay, we'll go there.
we're going
That's a
there
beautiful
in a few
open field
minutes.
too. All right.
Woke him up.
Oh, Butler
He-
did.
Yeah, he was sleeping on a carpenter's bench.
So
What
Butler
happened?
did come back.
Butler came here to wake him up.
No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I'll be
Butler
go to
and
hell.
Rosser were here. All three of them went that way.
He's sleeping on a carpenter's bench. Can you?
At least your relative wasn't asleep at the wheel. He was actually
sleep
got the
on the
boss up.
bench.
He got the boss up. And where was he? He was up in the front line there. He was up farther north. He came back to get him.
Well, we don't know where he was. His troops were here.
Yeah, Butler's troops.
Because right there across the tracks was a field, and that's where the led horses and
That's
the
where their little red
train-
wagon trains were in that prior. Okay.
That field and that field.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, and the guys were all camped around here. So he was here. He had people here. They went up there, ran into the Unions, came back, but they brought their forces up that way and set up their line.
So what do you think? What do you think of being a Southern gentleman that your family is, and your family, of course? What's a Southern gentleman say when he get the boss is sleeping? What's he say to get his ass up?
Look out, guy.
Time for a fight? Good day to fight, huh?
It says right here. They asked you what he wanted to do, and he said, "I propose to fight."
Good day to fight. Let's go. He got the biggest sword that any man could carry. That's in the museum at Appomattox, the new museum. You ever see that sword?
I think I have.
Looks like the one the Vikings carried.
Yeah.
Well, he was such a big man that the cavalry saber, his hand didn't fit standard one, so he actually carried a straight sword.
They came back here for a reunion years after the battle. And I don't remember the exact verbiage. It's in one of the articles that was written. But they asked Hampton how many people he killed. And he gave them a number, and he says, what about the other three? He said, they were running, they don't count.
I have one a lithograph. It's called Hampton's Duel. I mean, one of the things you got to love about these guys is they led from the front.
Yeah.
The group in the war to suppress Southern independence, the rank that suffered the most casualties per rank was colonels, not privates, because they led from
Yeah,
the
led.
front.
Yeah.
They didn't sit in the back
Nope.
like now we do. So you got to admire those guys, but that.
You know what's amazing about him is he fought in every big cavalry battle. This guy, and he's alive. He's still alive at this point. Brandy Station. He fought at Gettysburg, and now he's here another one. And these are not small battles.
In the book on Trevilian, the recent, at some point when Custer got up in this area, he actually had a cannon over here on this side. about, I guess about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm guessing time, one of his officers saw 2 Union soldiers on foot going toward that cannon, thinking it was a Confederate cannon. He met up with Hampton up here. This area at the time was open. He meets up with Hampton, says he needs a few men to go take that cannon, and Hampton says, don't bother, that's a Union cannon. Well, eventually they got pushed out and went this way. I've been looking for that spot for 15 years. We were laying out the horse trails, and I went in there, a deep draw, went around and came back up this way and came back this way with a friend of mine. And we're looking, and the hillside comes down, and there's one place where it goes down and it does this and comes down. So we go over there and get to looking, and we stuffed around. We have what looks like a dirt platform there, about 12 foot square. It's cut into the ground on the east side, elevated on the west side. When you scuff around, you find pieces of brick. The story is that there was a brick kiln there. I've been looking for that thing for 12, 15 years and stumbled on it.
And you think that's where the cannon was?
We think that's where the cannon was based on the information in the book.
I'll be damned. You see any, find any fuses or at all? You know, those little
No,
chain fuses?
We didn't look.
Didn't look,
We
yeah.
just found
I bet you find them there.
that little ditch around the platform of dirt,
Yeah.
and the entire platform was pieces, what I would say, of unused brick pieces.
Yeah. They used to shore it up.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be damned.
Middle of the train. Fredericksburg, Charlottesville Stagecoach Road. You left Fredericksburg, went to Spotsylvania Courthouse, changed horses. From Spotsylvania Courthouse, you came down into Spotsylvania to a little place called Post Oak. Changed horses. There was a tavern there. From there you came to what is now called Dickinson's Store. Changed horses. From there you came here. Changed horses. From here you went to Fluvanna County, just west of Zion's Crossroads. Changed horses. From there you went to Milton. Changed horses. From there you went on into Charlottesville, crossing in Charlottesville on the Rivanna River, where what we all know as the woolen mills was, which fed straight into Main Street, Charlottesville.
I'll be damned.
About 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon, as he's being pushed back, the fourth attempt to get through the line and get to Custer was successful.
And that's only how far up the road here? We'll go see that location.
Where they broke through the line was right there, the other side of these trees,
Okay.
maybe 100 yards at most. The Georgia boys had been posted on the tracks to protect Hampton's rear. They got trapped. Most of them were either captured or killed right there in the railroad cut. Custer was freed. Hampton Fitz-Lee line was split. Fitz-Lee moved to the east. Hampton moved to the west, took up his final position on the ridge over here just north of the tracks, got pushed off of that, and went west to his second day position.
Where are we now?
You're at the village of Trevilian. And it's spelled with an S because it was possessive and they dropped the apostrophe.
And there are so many Trevilians here, they call it the Trevilians.
Yeah.
Okay.
This area was behind the lines of Hampton, and it became a battlefield because of Custer getting in here.
And the tracks are basically behind us.
Tracks are directly over there. They're visible at the old
And the
range.
Trevilian house is right behind us too.
Correct.
Okay.
It's not visible because of the
I got you.
Fitz-Lee came in from the south and set up a line across here, blocking Custer. Merritt got in here. Roster came down. pushed Custer back, and that's on the other side.
What's amazing is the Confederates still are at Butler's on the other side of the tracks,
Yes.
Netherlands on the other side of the tracks with the cannons, and down here. So they are trying to defend both sides of the tracks.
Right. But this is actually Lee, and they got pushed back and went back toward Louisa. Okay? They went back, then it says Lastly Church Road. They went back to what is now Waldrop Church Road, then to another road that branched off of that, which took them directly to Lastly Church. There's one account that says that they went all the way to the south end of the river to water. But they got into their camp at Lastly Church before dark. And he's got 1,800, 1,700.
You're talking Fitzlee.
Fitzlee's
Yeah, okay.
got 1,800 people. He didn't go 6.5 miles south to turn around and come back 5 miles. He went straight to Lastly. However, there's Harris Creek down there, which at the time had a good flow of water. And that's where we think he watered, and then went on from there to Lastly Creek, Lastly Church, which also has water on both sides of the hill.
Okay.
He left there with his headquarters company and went west, then north, then came back to Hampton. His troops stayed in camp all night, got up the next day and made the same ride.
To make sure it's clear.
And they got into Hampton's group about midday.
Midday of the second day, and we'll go to that second day location. So if you could, tell me about your the last stand logic, right?
Okay, Fitzlee came up from Louisa. This is Nuns Creek Road, which we passed going around.
Yeah.
That's the way that Custer got to the main road from Louisa to Gordonsville, came in this way and found all of Hampton's led horses and wagon train in this field and the one.
And this road is generally where it was back then.
Generally speaking, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So Fitzlee comes up behind Custer, blocks him off right here. Rosser hears all hell break loose down here. He says, I'm not going to be left alone in here. He's up in this area. He comes down, charges out across the field right here, pushes Custer back into the woods down here about a quarter mile. We are now in the second triangle.
How many men did Custer have? 1,900 horses, you think?
Custer had probably 15 to 1,600.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
He gets pushed into a triangle. Rosser closes it from the west. Fitzlee closes it from the east and a little bit from the north. The Georgia boys sent by Hampton come down from the north. And there he is for the next 3 to 4 hours.
Now, are the Georgia boys pissing vinegar because some of the boys got captured and shot?
Most of them got captured.
So they're pissed off.
shot.
They're pissed off.
There's not many of them left.
So they want a revengeance, right?
The company was basically ruined.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were on their third commanding officer by the end of the day.
Wow. Okay, so your wife calls this the first last stand.
Custer's first
Explain
last
that.
stand. We have a bumper sticker to that effect.
You sell them?
Yes.
I got to get one.
Okay.
You want one?
No.
No?
I mean, I
I'm
don't.
going to put it in my man cave on the refrigerator.
Oh, well, I guess I could do something like that.
Okay, so explain what happened. So he's surrounded.
He's surrounded.
Now, when you're surrounded, John Wayne, put him in a circle, round him up, put him in a circle.
Is Butler moving at the same time all this is happening?
Butler is still across the tracks,
He's over here.
but he's coming back toward the tracks. And they set up on a ridge 100 yards or so beyond the tracks.
To defend the north from coming this way.
And the train station.
And what time is this? Before they're ripping up tracks, right?
2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon of the first day.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And the ripping up of the tracks was the second day.
Okay, yeah. So he's trying to stop that because this is the breadbasket where you can't believe the amount of land and crops that are coming in on
This
this, right?
connects everything to the Shenandoah Valley.
Yeah. This is the breadbasket. Yeah.
But so this is really, I keep trying to put my mind around is the horses. I mean, the horses. I've grown up around. That's
I grew up on a horse farm.
whole lot
Yeah.
of animal.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking 1,100, 1,200 pounds. And you got at least 10,000 to 15,000 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not much space.
No, it's not. Just in this area with Custer, he's probably got 1,500 or more horses.
And then on the other side, with the with everybody else, the Confederates, they got a lot of horses.
The Confederates alone probably had close to 9,000 horses.
And how many in this little area about this time between those four different generals, five different
They would
generals?
have been almost all in this area.
Yeah, well, you imagine that?
That's what I'm.
That's a lot of shit.
And you know, when it was a battle, there are a lot of them that, with horses, not just the men, but the horses are out in a battlefield. They're dead, and it's all right here. I mean, it's they start decomposing, and you got
There is an
aftermath
account
of the battle is
of
terrible.
a black man who was riding from this post office to another one. And he said he could not ride the road. There were too many dead animals in the road. He had to get off in the woods and go around all of it.
Yeah. And so, tell me why you coined it Custer's First Last Stand.
Well, my wife did that because, to our knowledge, this is the first time he almost lost it.
And surrounding the second time was out,
Apparently there were two more before he got to the west.
yeah, in the west.
So I don't know about them, but I've been told there were two other occasions where it almost happened.
So, explain when they got surrounded and they captured his wagon train, what the Confederates did to his wagon train.
Well, his wagon train was in a field down at what was then called Mildred's Crossing, which is now called Kent's Mill Road, where it breaks off of, now called 22.
Mm-hmm.
He stashed his wagon train there and came up behind Hampton. Fitz Lee came up behind him and took possession of his
From
entire
Louisa,
package.
right? Yeah.
From Louisa.
Yeah.
And he took everything. Custer's personal wagon, his diary, his letters to his wife, his letters from his wife, his uniforms, everything.
Silverware, everything.
He
A
lost.
dress uniform, right, you said?
The only thing he had left was his toothbrush, which was in his pocket.
And they published the letters in the Richmond Times.
Published the letters in the Richmond newspaper, and everybody said it was scandalous.
And he almost lost his colors.
His color bearer was beside him and took a hit, which was fatal. And he told Custer. Custer ripped the colors off of the staff and put them inside of his coat. And the guy fell off his horse dead.
Oh, be damned.
And one of the first questions Sheridan asked him was, "Did you lose your colors?" And he pulled it out and says, "No, I have them."
Yeah. Okay, where do we go next?
Well, we're going up. All trees over there. Okay.
Okay.
That's a wood line that runs this way.
Okay.
Those trees came all the way out here to the road and went that way. The trees that were in this field were cleared in the 1960s,
Okay.
and it's been open field ever since. This road and that road to Charlottesville were connected along that tree line, which is the third triangle.
I got you.
Because it came from down there and went in back to where we came onto this road, 1/4 mile up. So that was the point of the triangle where that road went through that.
Okay. Why that big tree you were talking about?
That was the second tree of 4.
Okay.
There's one down in the woods that you can't see, and the others have pretty much caught up with it. But if you look right at the top of the corn, you see that one tall tree
Yes,
way over
on the
there.
point there, yeah.
That's at the corner of the field.
I got it. That's where the original was.
That's the original road that went to Charlottesville.
Okay. So when they were coming over here, what's deceptive is there wasn't a road. This was a field.
This was a field.
But the road wasn't here, was it?
This road was not, but the railroad track
Was here. Okay, that's misleading.
And there was a house right there.
What was the name of the house? I remember that.
That was the Danny House and Store.
That's right, yeah.
And we think that was a post office called the about said it, and I can't get it now, but it's a New Jersey type name. But the Union forces came up the road, which ran along.
So they're digging up tracks along the way.
No, they're coming this way to see where everybody is.
Okay.
And they run into the entrenched, they said. It was the road cut. Confederate forces over here. So they stopped down there, crossed the tracks, came around through here, and came up this way.
Circle back.
Got up in that house, and now they're shooting down on the Confederates in the tracks. You also have cannon down there that's shooting straight up through here at the guys in the tracks.
So that's why it's called a bloody angle.
The angle came down this way along the tree line and went
Let's go
that
up here.
way.
It says, it shows, you can show us on here.
Yeah,
Because
but
it's a good picture of it.
it went to the west up about where that car is now.
Okay. So show us the angle here in red.
Well, the angle would have been
It's right here coming down and up here, right?
Right
Because there's
along
a
here.
six, right?
to here.
And where are we standing right here?
We
Right in the middle
are
of it, right?
right there.
So it's to the left of us, to the west of us.
It started almost on us and went to the west.
Okay.
So it was just like this.
Got it.
And we're standing right there.
Okay, so to make sure, so we got the 6th South Carolina with the cadets, Citadel cadets, Isaac Harby Moses here, which is on just about the point here, right,
Yeah.
of this. And then you got Butler who's right behind him, behind the guns. Now, where
Right.
are the guns at? How far back are the guns?
The big guns are right out here,
Oh, they're, okay.
and they're facing that way and this way.
So when the Federals come up, the Union, they're going to be ready for them
Yeah.
up the tracks.
Now what happened was, with the snipers in this house, Hampton gets a hold of Sergeant Neese, who was with the artillery, and asked him to put some shot in that house to stop the snipers.
So I got to ask you a question. So do you think when the snipings happen that these guys are established here already on the tracks?
They had been here. They'd been here since not long after sunup.
There's a reason I'm asking this, because Isaac Moses gets shot early the second day.
That would have been somewhere around 1 o'clock.
So he probably might have got shot by the sniper.
Could have been.
He might have got shot by the sniper because he was so damn close.
You see that black dot?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where the snipers were, which would have been right there.
So they were probably plucking the guys off on the tracks. Now, do you think they were dug in along the tracks?
No, this was a cut.
The
So-
best they could do would lead up
They
against
would have
the
been
back.
behind
The cut.
the cut.
So if you get shot, because it didn't kill him.
You got shot, you were probably gonna stay there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
When Hampton had them fire on the house, what happened?
3 to 5 shots were fired into the house. It set it afire, and they said the rats deserted it.
By the way,
That stopped the sniping.
look who we have on this right here.
There he is again.
Mr. Butler. You're famous. You're a famous dog.
The Union forces made 6 attacks on this position
Trying to get it.
and
Take
were
it.
pulsed every time. They were massing for a 7th attack.
So it started about 1 o'clock or
At
noon
about 1 o'clock,
and then ran to dusk,
ran to sunset.
sunset. Yeah.
What happened was, if you see here, Lomax took a group, went up an old woods road, up almost to the school, crossed the tracks, got in the woods, and came down to the front yard of a house that was right up there about 200
Fire in broadside to him.
Comes in there, and they line up in the woods in the front yard of that house. And as soon as the Union forces make the bugle call to attack, they hit them in the flank, drove them from the field. They retreated all.
How many men with Lomax?
Probably 700 or 800.
That's a lot of lead coming.
Yeah. They retreated. The Union forces retreated to Trevilian's, built up their campfires to make it look like they were still there, and at 2 o'clock in the morning got the hell out of Dodge.
I bet a lot of casualties in that field from that open fire right there.
Very probably.
So how many, on the second day, how many estimates of the Confederates killed along the tracks here in the angle?
I don't know.
We do know
We have a rough number.
Just ballpark.
We have a rough
Out of the
number
1,900 total, right?
in the book. Okay, and I would have to go in the book. I don't want to quote any numbers because I'm not sure.
I'll look it up. And so, any idea of the federal side, the Union?
That's in the book.
It had to be a lot.
That's a lot, but it's specific numbers.
And so you've got the cavalry that some have carbines, 6 shots, others have Einfield rifles. So the guys that are ripping off 6 shots can kill a lot of guys.
Yes.
Dead point blank, broadside when they never saw them. They're pretty stealth-like coming up on them. And they probably opened up at what time?
The first shots were fired in here somewhere around 1 to 1:30.
So the snipers fired at what time?
Probably 2:30 or 3.
The snipers started to fire. They're positioned, and then that opens up when?
That opens up at sunset.
Holy shit. So everybody's tired. They're probably regrouping.
These guys ran out of ammunition along here, and there's an account of somebody retreating off the line, getting a wagon load of ammunition, and coming along here and throwing it off to the guys in the track so they could shoot back.
At sunset.
No, a little earlier than that.
Early that?
Probably an hour or so before sunset.
So now how many horses, you like the number of horses, you're enamored with the number of horses.
I'm enamored with how many horses.
How many horses you think were here in this area?
In the area, probably 15,000. But they would not have been here.
Yeah.
They would have been back that way, off the field, and back that way in the woods.
Still a lot of freaking horses.
Yeah.
This right now is basically either dismounted cavalry.
This is all dismounted,
dismounted.
Except the flank attack. That's the third mounted attack.
So they basically, the flank attack, tied the horses to a tree and then just opened fire and then got back on the horses?
Yeah.
Did they run them off?
Did they run who?
When they took broadside, the Union, they retreated.
They retreated fast.
Did they follow them?
No.
Lomax didn't follow them.
They did not follow them.
Why is that?
Hampton said he didn't know how far they went, and his troops weren't in position after a 7-hour pitched battle to do anything.
Yeah, we've won the day, and we've had enough.
And won the battle.
We came to fight. We fought, won the battle. That's enough.
And then the next day, they licked their wounds and got everything organized. And then the next day, they got underway chasing them.
Oh, they went after him.
They went after them, but they were a day and a half behind them.
How far did they make it to back
all the way
to?
to Richmond.
They chased them back to Richmond.
Chased them all the way back to the White House where they met resistance.
I know where the White House is.
They met resistance there, and from there down to the river.
And that's the
James River.
I'll be damned. So they chased them all the way back.
Yeah.
So now you got 6,500 horses chasing them with whatever the Federals had. How about that? Now, there was another cavalry battle by the river. You know about that one? By a church that's no longer there, right outside of Richmond.
I've heard of it.
I went there. The church, the new church is there. The old church isn't. But Hampton fought a cavalry battle there, so he must have run into them there.
Somewhere near the James River.
Yeah, Nottaway Church?
Who?
Nottaway? I think it's Nottaway Church.
Could be. I don't know.
But the Nottaway River runs through there, and he ran into...
Nottaway River comes in from the south.
Maybe it's not Nottaway. It's another river.
Yeah, Nottaway comes in from the south down close to Portsmouth.
Yeah, the river is below Petersburg, and it's about probably 5 miles away where the house was, the old church.
All right, but that's not tied to this. That's a different battle.
I thought when they were chasing him, he might have chased him.
Petersburg is south of the James, and these guys never went south of the James.
I got to remember that. I'll find out that
the
church.
Union went across the James, but the south did not.
I'll find that church out because I've walked his footsteps there. I wasn't sure the detail, though. Okay, anything else about this battle?
Not really. One thing, the Union forces at the time thought they were facing infantry reinforcements from Gordonsville.
Yeah.
They weren't, but that was the information they had. So they thought they were actually facing a larger force than they were.
So do you think by Sheridan coming up here, he did delay any supplies getting into Richmond?
For a few days.
Yeah, but they reestablished it.
They tore the tracks up on the 12th, okay? By the 16th, they had them repaired.
Had them repaired. But they twist them into like the pretzels they used to do?
Yeah,
Heat them up?
They would build up some ties underneath them, lay the tracks over them, light them up, and they would sag.
Yeah.
And then they weren't usable. They had to go back to the foundry.
Okay, so the significance of this battle, what do you think it is?
Delaying the end of the war by a minimum of 8 months.
8 months?
Had Sheridan accomplished his goal, he would have gone to Charlottesville, torn up the bridge over the Rivanna River, turned south, gone to Lynchburg, linked up with Hunter, and come down the river, tearing up track and bridges all the way to the west side of Richmond, which would have isolated Richmond in August.
And that was the goal of...
And that would have been the end of it.
That was the goal of Grant.
That was the goal that they were going for. Hunter got stopped in the valley, never got across the mountains.
Okay, I'm going to ask you an unfair question. So I had the opportunity to have dinner with 3 different generals in my life because we had a big defense unit. We had the generals come speak to our troops. And what was the guy that pillow talked, the one general with the trader in Wall Street that got indicted and all sorts of stuff? He was a Iraq guy. What was his name? I'll remember it. I'll put it in the video. But he pillow talked and got himself in trouble. And she traded on secrets, millions and millions of dollars. I had dinner with this guy, and he asked me, he said, who do you think the greatest general was of the United States history, of all time? Okay? I'm not going to tell you my guess. I'm going to ask what your guess would. Let's start with you. Who do you think was, and you could buy some time to think.
That's an unfair question. Give me 3 seconds.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Patton. And who's the second?
Lee.
Who's the third?
Maybe Sheridan.
Where's Grant in that list?
About number 5 or 6.
Really?
Okay, why do you say that?
Just because of my familiarity with others and not with him.
Okay. So I until I got to know both sides as well over the last 50 years, and a lot of reading, I guess, because I'm a supply chain logistics major. That's my background. I worked for IBM for 39 years, and my expert supply chain. The only guy that figured out supply chain, forget about the battle, was Grant. He was wicked on wheeling resources to the point of battle. Now, what he did with them once he got there, like Cold Harbor, sometimes were a nightmare. But he could afford, he had a numbers game, and he knew it, and he could throw a lot more at the South than the South could throw at him.
He didn't
care.
Not care about
But
casualties.
if you're a logistics guy, you know that. So he had
He brought total war.
total war,
Understood
and then he had Sherman, his fair-haired young man, right, that would do anything for Grant, and Sherman believed the same thing. Now, Sherman was a decent guy sometimes. He grew up down the street in Ohio where I lived, and I didn't like Sherman, but he would, when he got to, like, Savannah, he didn't burn the city.
Well, he
had a girlfriend there.
A sexual reason for that.
But he, Natchez. He didn't burn Natchez.
He did burn Columbia.
He did, but he was after one thing in Columbia, the signing of secession. And that the true story in Columbia is because I went looking for the church. He lined up across the river and fired volley after volley into the Capitol building. Today, there's shot shells in the Capitol building. You ever see those?
No.
They're still there, across the river. Okay, now, the reason he was looking for it is he wanted to find where he called him the son of a bitch to sign the succession documents. They were supposed to sign it in Charleston, but the plague broke out, and so they moved it from, King Meeting Street Church there, and they moved it to Columbia. Okay, so
Can I say something about
let me just finish the version, and then I'd like to get you fact-checking me. So what they told me, the history department at the University of South Carolina, which I trust, is they said he was looking for one thing, to burn the church down where they signed the succession documents. Okay, now, a caretaker of the church, they came up to the church when they took the town, and he said, I'm looking for the church they signed the succession documents. And the caretaker said, it's the one down there. Okay, 2 blocks away, you can see the steeple. He went down and burned that church. The succession documents were signed at that caretaker's church. He sent him to the wrong damn church. And Sherman was pissed off, man, when he found out he didn't burn it. So what are your thoughts on it?
Well, the only thing I was going to say is, you find my family connections. In you just mentioned the succession documents. Next time you're in my house, I'll show you the articles of succession, and the 9th name on it is another great-great-grandfather, Quay Donovan.
So, the Moses family, the oldest Moses boy, cadet of Citadel, fired the first shot on the Star of the West, the supply ship to Sumter. First shot at the point at Morris Island. First shot, right?
Shot of a war.
Sent him back, didn't resupply. Then the first shot of the actual war from Battery Park, guess who shot that? The Moses boys. And guess who fired the last shots in the war? The Moses boys at Fort Blakeley.
Really?
You're going to meet Harby when I bring him. And if you'd like to put up with us one more day,
Sure.
we'll bring him back. All right. Thank you, my friend. Just freaking awesome. Thank you.
Oh, it's not over.
Nope. All right. This piano was at the Clifton House on the road to Appomattox at Lee's Retreat. And this piano was there, and they took the key off it because Lee was in the house from the Clifton House, and it's in the Appomattox Museum.
Yeah.
I'll place my knapsack on my back